All right, so I'm just kind of gonna describe my final project, which is a kind of mini unit plan for one of my math classes, next units, which is fractions. So under the established goals, I pulled these directly from our curriculum, which is CPM, and these are from chapter three. Um, but when my CT and I looked at the goals regarding, or like the objectives for regarding fractions, we were very hesitant because we feel that our students really don't have the background knowledge right now to really reach those goals without some serious like backfill and kind of like reviewing of these topics. And so these are kind of what they will be expected to do in this upcoming chapter. And this whole unit plan is how to prep them for those goals, basically. So hopefully that makes sense. So I did use the understanding by design, um, kind of backwards planning. Just I really liked it. We did this in a previous class, and I really liked it. So you can read there, um, kind of the understandings, and a lot of these were ones that my CT and I came up together with kind of what we wanted to review and make sure students had a really solid understanding on before kind of diving into our new chapter. So really just total fraction review, um, including, improper mixed numbered fractions, some basic operations with like denominators. Um, so the next part is the assessment. And this will be actually the first time I'm giving a pre assessment in a very long time, probably since I can remember, unfortunately. So I did link a pre assessment. And again, this is something my team and I came up with together just based on it is pretty much based on what we want students to know and be able to do at the end of this. Everything should be linked and you should be able to open it. So I'm not going to go through everything, but after the video, you can, of course, click through anything. And if the links don't work, let me know. I thought I got them all. So that's a pre assessment. And I'm hoping actually to give that pre assessment this week in my actual class. And then using that data to decide really what, students need to go over again, determine where each individual student is at, and maybe start to make groups. So that's the pre-assessment formatives assessments, kind of quick ways to gather student information and how students are doing. I was using teacher observation, which in this class I'm using this for is only 8 students, so I am able to really get a good idea of what students are doing and how they are doing. I only have 2 students that are actually coming into school. Of those 8, the other 6 are staying distance. So everything pretty much um, is doable in distance. There's one activity I'll show you down below that will be more of for those 2 kids that are in person, then, of course, adapting it so the students online can use it as well. So I plan on using Pear Deck and Kahoot, which are pretty standard, as well as quizzes. I use those a lot, in previous units. I did want to start using more frequently entry or exit slips, which is something that was in the DI videos from our last module. And so I created some comparing and ordering fractions that can be used before or after a lesson. Um, this quizzes is for adding and subtracting with like denominators. Um, a Google form for fractions on a number line. And so this form is actually adaptive because if they get it wrong, they will go back and like review in order to find out the correct answer. It's almost like self-correcting. The summative assessment is actually basically a copy of the pre-assessment. I believe there's 1 or 2 changes, but you can go ahead and it's links. You can take a look. I don't know if that's exactly the correct way or the standard way of doing it, but I thought it'd be great just to really see. um, students before and after. Get like a really great snapshot of what did they get wrong compared to, what did they get right and exactly how much growth they made. Another summative assessment, which I actually used last year, is this hundreds chart art project. I can let you kind of read about it, but basically they're using a hundreds chart. They can make their own design, and then for each color, they tell like what fraction part they used for the hundreds chart, and then um, so what we did last year is later when we learned about decimals, which we will do in our upcoming chapter, is go back to the hundreds chart they created and write their fractions for each color as a decimal. And then last but not least, the learning plan and learning activities. So the task cards are will be used for the two kids that are in-person learning, and then I can also make them like a Google Slides or Google Doc or some other type of online for the kids at home. I did use these. Some of the stuff I actually used last year, and so I kind of know what I like and what I don't like for this unit, which was really helpful. Um, Bingo, and these boards can be used for several different um, skills. And then an equivalent fractions choice board. I really like the choice board I created in module 4.5. And so it's linked, and I believe everything is also linked in here. But so this is a double choice board, and so the first one is learning to identify equivalent fractions, and they have 4 options to choose from. Here, if you can't get into the Edpuzzle on Pear Deck, this is for like a teacher preview. And then one activity for creating equivalent fractions using multiplication. So I'll be doing 3 activities in all. And then a tiered assignment for fractions on a number line. And so, this Google form can be given after this learning activity. So this is tier 1, something in the missing parts, labeling them. You can see that these number lines go from 0 to 1, or 0 to 5/5 or 1 whole. Same with these. But then at tier 2 actually goes beyond that into like mixed numbers and extending the number line for the students who, who have kind of already shown that they understand fractions on a number line. So that is my unit plan. Like I said, if you need questions or if the links don't work, let me know and I can quickly change those. Or if you need questions about anything, please let me know. All right, enjoy.